Welcome to this introductory video to Accounting 510 for spring semester 2020. Let's get started. First, we'll need to go out to Blackboard and into the course. Whenever you come into this course, you should take a look at announcements. There's currently only one announcement in there. That's an introductory announcement. Once this is updated, once I have the URL for this particular video, which I don't have because I'm in the process of making the video, but once I have that, I'll update this announcement and you'll be able to find the link to get to this video. Okay, so in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to walk through the Blackboard platform. We're going to take a detailed look at the syllabus. I'm going to walk you through how to register for My Accounting Lab, the Pearson platform that we'll be utilizing extensively in this course, all that which will be explained in the syllabus, and then we'll go out and take a look at the actual My Accounting Lab platform. So after you view this video, the next step will be to register for My Accounting Lab and for the My Accounting Lab companion course. As you'll see when we go over the syllabus, one of the things that's included in this course are things called dynamic study modules. These are very, very valuable. And because the textbook we're working with for this course is in the first edition, those DSMs have still not been prepared for this specific book. So what I've done as a workaround for the last couple years is use the DSMs from a similar textbook, same subject, same primary authors, and there's no way to import them into this primary course. So as a workaround, I just create this companion course. I'll explain all that when we get into more thoroughly when we get into this taking a look at the syllabus. Okay, a little bit of information about myself. If you want to get in touch with me, there's my email address, phone number for my office phone number. That is not a good way to get a hold of me. I'm on a part-time contract now, so I'm only down in Pueblo one day a week, which is on Wednesdays when I have my cost accounting class. So my physical office hours are between 12 and 1 by appointment. So if you do need to or do want to meet up, that's a good time, and if that doesn't work, let me know and we'll work by appointment. But otherwise, the best way to communicate in this course is going to be by email. So as for my background, I did an undergraduate degree in accounting at the University of Illinois. If any of you are familiar with that part of the country, it gets pretty damn cold. So after 4 years there, I headed down to Texas, where I went to work for a short period of time for the then Big 8 firm of Arthur Young in Dallas. I decided to go back to grad school and did my MS and PhD in accounting at the University of North Texas. When I finished my PhD, I wanted to try to do something different, so I went to Madrid, Spain. So over there teaching for St. Louis University for about 4 years. Then I headed up to Scotland, to Dundee, Scotland, taught at the University of Abertay. Then returned to Madrid and began teaching for the Instituto de Empresa, which is a professional business school in Madrid, which operates MBA programs, executive MBA programs, master's degree programs, as well as PhD and DBA programs. I primarily taught on the International MBA and International Executive MBA programs. There were 3 accounting courses. I taught all 3 of them: financial accounting, cost accounting, and management control systems. And the cost accounting course I also taught it a few semesters in Spanish. By 2005, my first 2 sons were born. They were 5 and 8, and I decided to return to the U.S. and took a position with CSU Pueblo, and I've been here since. For those of you that are not familiar with Spain, Spain is actually the second highest country in Europe behind Switzerland. So it's actually got a climate that's very, very similar to here in Colorado. Madrid, for example, is probably about, I think it's about 2,000 feet. We lived in a little village outside of Madrid, about 30 miles outside of Madrid up in the mountains, and that was probably 3,000 feet, so it's not as high as up here, but very, very similar alpine desert climate. So I got very, very used to that, and obviously enjoy living here in Colorado. In fact, I've got a poster in my office of a place about 80 miles west of Madrid, and people often ask where that's at in Colorado, because it looks just like Colorado, except for the fact that there's a castle and a grove of olive trees, which you don't tend to find around here. So anyway, that's a little bit of information on myself. I'm looking forward to meeting you guys when this class gets started next week. All right, continuing on, we've got this getting started portion here. This is pretty generic. This is kind of an overview of the subject matter in this course. You can take a look at that on your own. Down here, the first assignment that we have is for you to go and post information about yourself out in the discussion board. I also need each of you to send me an email introducing yourself, giving a little bit of background on yourself, and providing me with a return email address, because I will need to email you back the access code for the My Accounting Lab companion course. Okay, let's take a look now at the course materials. Up here we have the homework schedule. We'll go over that a little bit later. This right here, these two documents right here are information that you'll need in order to register for the two different courses. Again, I'll walk you through all that in a little bit. Here's the syllabus, and then required material for this course is My Accounting Lab. All of the work done in this course will be done through My Accounting Lab. It's optional whether you purchase a textbook or use the ebook in My Accounting Lab, but you must go out and purchase My Accounting Lab for this course. There are videos for most of the topics, 2 to 3 to 4 videos per module, and they can be found at my YouTube channel, and here's the direct address to get to that. Okay, so let's take a look now at the syllabus. Here's information, course goals, student performance, objectives, this type of thing. Down here we get into an overview of the course, which gets into specific information about this course. This course is an online course which extensively utilizes the Pearson My Accounting Lab publisher platform. So all content assessment will take place in My Accounting Lab. So the way to think about this is Blackboard is a shell. The thing that we will do in Blackboard, it's a repository for holding things, and then we also have the discussion board in there, but everything else will take place outside of Blackboard in My Accounting Lab. So in terms of required materials, you must have My Accounting Lab access to complete this course. You may, if you like, also purchase a textbook, or you can use the e-text in My Accounting Lab. That choice is up to you. Once you get your My Accounting Lab access, you'll need to register for the corresponding course, and I'll walk you through how to do that here later in this video. Okay, regarding this course runs 8 weeks, contains 8 modules that stand for this MBA program. In the case of this particular course, each module contains 2 chapters, which makes the pace of this course very, very fast. The majority, but not all of the modules contain related chapters. That said, it's still very important that you work the chapters in the order described in the assignment schedule, because chapters tend to build on each other. Material tends to build on itself. Each course will run for 1 week, beginning on Monday at midnight and concluding the following Sunday at 11:59 p.m. All required assessments, discussions, etc. must be completed by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. At that time, that particular module will close. All right, the My Accounting Lab resources include the following. First, we have what we call dynamic study modules. This is a adaptive learning tool where you're asked questions, you provide input on how confident you are about your answer, and one way to think about these would be they're similar to pre-quizzes or pre-homework problems, the type of stuff where you've looked at something before you've actually read the chapter and gone over the material. The DSMs are required and they constitute part of your grade. You get full credit for doing them. Next, we have exercises and problems. This is the assigned homework for each chapter. These are required. This is a component of your grade. They are not graded for accuracy, so you will get full credit for completing them. There's no time limit. You can go back and do it as much as you want. My recommendation is you work the homework extensively before you move on to the next thing, which are the quizzes. There are no exams in this course. However, there are two types of quizzes. There are mastery question quizzes and there are calculative quizzes. One of my pet peeves in material in subjects like this is because the how is quite challenging at times, an enormous amount of time is spent on how to do something. And a lot of times I don't believe students get a really good handle on what it is they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it. If you can always ask those questions, you're trying to learn something new, ask yourself, what am I trying to do? Why am I trying to do it? For whom am I trying to do it? Then the how of what you're trying to do becomes, in many cases, pretty self-evident. So I've got two types of quizzes here, and they're designed to address those two different things. The mastery question quizzes are designed to address how well you understand what it is you're trying to do in a given topic. The calculative quizzes are like the problems in the homework, and they are how do you do it. The other component of your grade is a discussion board. That's available and be utilized for each module. Note, this is a highly quantitative course. It doesn't lend itself to open-ended discussions. Back when I taught in Spain, I taught a course just like this in the International MBA program, in the Executive International MBA program, and I also taught Management Control Systems, which was a case-based course. The case-based course was very easy to get everybody talking about what we're doing. It was very different than this type of course, which involves a lot of calculation. So my point being, I have very realistic expectations about what I want from you in terms of discussion. The type of discussion questions that I posted out there tend to be somewhat conceptual, things that I'm trying to get you to think about what we're doing and get a better handle on the what and why of what we're trying to do. All right, so in summary, your content includes the My Accounting Lab platform and instructor videos. As I commented, I'm in the process of making those. Quite often those videos will involve me working a problem and explaining logic behind a problem. That's how I tend to teach these type of classes. So in review here, you've got a discussion board. Each module will cover 2 chapters. You can choose one of the 2 chapter discussion questions. I'm going to be pretty flexible on this. I'm not going to hold you to choosing one of the 2 different discussion questions. Rather, I'll hold you to picking a couple of questions that are out there that you're most comfortable with, that you've got some ideas about, and responding to those. Each discussion is going to be worth 5 total points, and for all 8 modules, that will add up to 45 points, and I'll discuss all that in a moment. You have the dynamic study modules. They're untimed. You have full access to all resources. They're like pre-homework type problems. They're worth a total of 45 points. I will assign an overall score at the end of the term for your dynamic study modules. Those should be the very first things that you do with any chapter. Homework is untimed. You got full access to all resources. That is equally worth 45 points, and I will assign an overall score at the end of the term for that. The assessed part of this class are the MQQ and the CQ quizzes. These are timed, and the time effectively, what I do with these is I take the quizzes myself, and then I double the amount of time that's available for you guys. You're going to need to know how to do it. You're going to need to be ready to take those quizzes. You're not going to have time to look stuff up. Those quizzes will be graded for accuracy, and they constitute what you would generally tend to think of as the assessment, or the graded assessment in a course. So again, the sequence you should work through this: first do the DSMs, then do the homework. Then once you're really comfortable with the material, you understand what it is you're doing, why you're trying to do it, and how to do it, then it's time to take the quizzes. The discussion board are more high-level type questions that kind of float on top of the actual topics that we're looking at. So they don't really fall into this in a particular order. The overall grades will break down as follows. Your discussion board will be worth a total of 45 points. Dynamic study modules worth a total of 45 points. Homework worth a total of 45 points. Each of those is approximately 10% of your grade. So collectively, 30% of your grade is simply doing what you're supposed to do in terms of the dynamic study modules and the homework, things that you would be doing anyway, and engaging in the discussion board. And you get full credit for doing that stuff. It's not graded for accuracy. Then your mastery question quizzes and your calculated quizzes are each worth a total of 160 points, which represents about 35% of your grade. So roughly 70% of your grade is based on assessed performance via quizzes, and the other 30% is simply doing the work that you're required. Okay, the course grading scale is common throughout the MBA program. Everything runs on Mountain Time. Now, for both different type of quizzes, what I do, and this is a practice I've done since I began teaching, I'll be giving 16 quizzes, each type of quiz in here. I will take your lowest quiz and toss it out. In other words, I will not take an average of 16 quizzes, but I'll take your best 15 quizzes. That means you've got a margin of one quiz in there that you can miss, you can blow, you can do whatever. Okay? And I'll make that adjustment at the end of the semester. Be aware that if a quiz has a time limit of, say, 10 minutes, and it's due at 12 or 11:59, and you start the quiz later than 11:50, you're not going to get the fully allotted time. The MQQ quizzes will be about 12 minutes to do 15 straightforward multiple choice questions. The CA quizzes will be considerably longer. They might be 30, 40 minutes, and the amount of points in them will vary because they're problems. In other words, they're not all going to be the same. However, every quiz is going to be weighted to be worth 10 points. So, for example, you take a CA quiz for Chapter 1, and it's worth 30 points, and you get 30 out of 30. Well, that's 100%. You get a 10 for that quiz. You take the CA quiz for Chapter 2, let's say it's worth 40 points, and you get 30 out of 40. Well, that's 75%. So that quiz is worth 7.5. So even though the absolute point value of the quizzes are different, the relative value of every quiz is exactly the same. Regarding feedback on your quizzes, once the due date has happened, that's going to be 11:59 on Sunday night, you will be able to see your quiz. When you submit your quiz initially, all you will see is your score. But once the due date has come, you will be able to go back and look at your quizzes. You can see what you've done wrong. Any kind of questions, contact me, so forth and so on. All right, the class schedule outlining what the actual weekly assignments will be, or the assignments that pertain to each chapter and each module. They're available on Blackboard, and we'll take a look at them in a moment. Use of email. This is an online course. I'm also part-time, or I'm on a half-time contract, have been for quite some time down at CSU Pueblo. So I'm only down there one day a week. The very best way to get a hold of me is via email. I'm pretty good at checking my email throughout the day. If you do send me something by email, it's very important you identify who you are and what it is you're talking about. And secondly, if you have a question, be as specific as possible. For example, if you're working a problem and you can't figure out why you're supposed to do something there that you see in the solution, or you don't know kind of what to do, you can send me a question with a very specific question. It's not very useful to send me an email saying, I don't know what to do. I don't understand this. because that's not a whole lot to work with. So the more specific you are, the better it's going to be. Quite often what students have done in the past is they've just taken a screenshot of the problem they're having trouble with and embed it in a Word document, send it to me. Please embed it in a Word document, because if you just put it into the email, sometimes it doesn't work out right. I can't see it properly, but if you put it in a Word document, then there's generally no kind of problems with that. Okay, so real quick, just to summarize, the vast bulk of this course takes place out on My Accounting Lab. What you have to do out here are dynamic study modules, homework, and 2 types of quizzes for every chapter. Okay, so back here in Blackboard, let's take a look at these tabs over here. Here we have our course modules. This will be the primary place that you'll go to here within Blackboard. Let's open up one of these and take a look. Up here will be your link to get into the discussion forum. Here we have PowerPoint presentations prepared by the publisher, and then any video lectures that I've created for this course, and there's usually about 2 or 3 per module. They can be found right here. They'll all be identified by what their topic is. This first one here is just a little video on advice on how to take the quantitative quizzes. And then down here, you won't be able to see this when you look in there, but these are the solutions to the homework problems. So once we have completed a module, the solutions to those chapters that were involved in that model will be made available so that you can go back, check on any problems that you worked, any additional problems, so forth and so on. Okay. Over here is a link into the discussion forum, but as we saw a moment ago, you can get there through course modules. This right here was set up by the people running this program. It's tremendously confusing, so my suggestion is you completely ignore this. There's no reason to go here. And in here you'll find the link to My Accounting Lab, which we'll be looking at in a moment. Okay, so if we come back up here into course information, right here we have our tentative homework schedule. Let's pop that up. All right, so as you can see, we've got 8 modules, 2 chapters per module. We get started next Monday on March 2nd. And the chapters that are due for that first module are Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Here are the homework problems for those 2 chapters. So this is how you would interpret the homework schedule. All right, this information right here is on how to register for the primary My Accounting Lab course and the companion course. So let's go ahead and open these up. All right, so what you'll need to do is open this up, print this out, and what you're going to specifically need is this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. So we'll be using that in a moment. If we come up here, we have the registration instructions for the companion course. As you'll note there, it has a different course ID number. Anyway, you'll need to print those 2 things out, and then you'll need to go to My Accounting Lab. Come over here. This will take us out to Pearson. Okay, so you'll come in here. You'll need to register for the courses. So you come in here as a student, register. You'll need that course ID number. Okay, and as you can see, this is pulling up the primary My Accounting Lab course. And then you'll go ahead and, and sign up. All right, so that's how you would register for the 2 courses. You'll have the course ID number for both of those courses. And then for the companion course, once you send me your introductory email, I'll send you an access code. For your primary course, you'll need to purchase that access code. All right, so now let's go into Pearson. Once you've registered, you'll see something somewhat similar to this. It'll at least have these two courses right here. Let's go into the companion course first. The only thing that's in the companion course are the dynamic study modules. So if we are in the course using the student view, this is what you're going to see. Now, currently, well, I guess you do see here that you have the upcoming assignments due on these dates right here. So I wasn't sure you'd be able to see those because they haven't become due yet. I'm going to go into the instructor's view, come over here and take a look at the assignment manager, and there you see all the different DSMs for this course. Just to explain how this is to be interpreted, so this is chapter 1 out of our textbook, and that's chapter 1 out of the Horngren 16th edition textbook. So some of these topics they coincide, and in some they don't. For example, the chapter on process costing, that's chapter 5 in our textbook. That's chapter 17 in the 16th edition Horngren textbook. All right, so as we said, the only thing that you'll need to do here in the companion course are the DSMs. They are part of the required assessment for this course, and in order to register for the course, you'll need to get the access code from me. All right, now let's take a look at the primary course. And again, if we were in the student view, it should look something like this. As you can see here, due a week from Sunday, you've got the exercises for chapter 1. You have an MQQ quiz due. You have a CA quiz due for chapter 1. You have homework for chapter 2. And likewise, you will have, although it's not showing here, you will have a MQQ quiz for chapter 2 and a CA quiz for chapter 2. If we look down at this stuff through my view as an instructor, it's a little easier for me to navigate here because it's what I'm more familiar with seeing. Okay, so all of this stuff becomes available. All of the homework becomes available. The quizzes become available in the week that corresponds to that particular quiz. But here for the first module, for example, you've got some homework problems, then you've got 2 quizzes for chapter 1, you've got exercises and problems for chapter 2, and then 2 quizzes for chapter 2. In almost every chapter, probably chapter 1 is the exception, there are exercises and there are problems. Okay? All right. So that pretty much concludes our introductory video here. Just to reiterate, all of the assessment in this course takes place in My Accounting Lab, in the primary My Accounting Lab course. The only thing that takes place in Blackboard are the discussion questions. Likewise, we have the dynamic study modules. You'll find those in the companion course for My Accounting Lab. If you have any questions, contact me by email. And I look forward to getting started on class on Monday. See you then. Goodbye.